Welcome to TIA Talks. My name is Jason, your host, and today we unpack one of the most emotionally layered and thought-provoking challenges we've seen on this season in the Insurance Apprentice. Today I've got Bianca from Bryte, who set the task, and Milady, the eliminated. We've been saying the eliminator and the eliminatee in all our episodes, but I get confused with those. So I'm just going to jump straight into it. And Bianca, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself to the audience.
I am Bianca Radzilani, and I'm the executive for insurance partnerships at Bryte Insurance.
And I knew that because you've been here before.
I have been here before, and it's an absolute honor to be back again. I'm looking forward to having a chat with Milady and yourself.
Yeah, usually they don't look forward to me, but I appreciate the sentiment. Milady, the eliminated. Correct me if I'm wrong. So are you seventh? You came seventh.
I came number 8th.
Eighth.
Yes.
Okay, so now there's 7 left.
Yes, the 7
Seven left, so we're not at the top 6 yet. The coveted top 6 spot, just missed it. You weren't the first one to get eliminated, at least, but you are close to getting to that top 6. You made the top 10, and I'm like super proud of you, Milady.
Thank you.
Watching you over the last few episodes has been actually a pleasure, you know, seeing how you've conducted yourself and just the way that you operate. Speaking of operate, where do you operate? What do you do? And who are you, Milady?
I am Milady Buthelezi. I currently work at Aon Reinsurance. I work under the Rest of Africa Treaty team. So we look after clients outside South Africa from a reinsurance perspective.
Yeah, these people that are in reinsurance always find, because Bianca, you've done your homework with reinsurance, and that's kind of what your job is at Bryte. I can't imagine being in your spaces, because I find that we've got insurance for like car and home insurance at the bottom layer, you know, the funeral plans, everything that we can see. And then behind insurance, there's so many different layers.
That is true.
And for the first time ever, I learned about frac cover or whatever it's called. It wasn't swearing for facultative stuff, and I'm not even going to pretend I know what it means. But I learned for the first time, I heard that word on TIA when I was competing. I'll never forget it. Rain mentioned it to me, and I was like, what is this? And it opened my whole kind of brain into where do we go from here and what do we do? So Bianca, I know you've mentioned a few things about partnerships previously in TIA Talks, but maybe for the layman out there, what is your role at Bryte in terms of partnerships, and what does that actually look like?
So in insurance, we have got multi-channels of how do you access the end client. And the end client, I mean either a company or a natural person. So in my division, we look after what we call the underwriting managing agents, who are basically an extension of the underwriting from a Bryte Insurance perspective. So these specific companies and individuals who run those companies have like a speciality in a specific risk. And they form a product around it, and then we endorse it, and we give them capacity to go out into the market, obviously via brokers, to actually then distribute the product and get the client base. So that is my role in essence, to look after the partnership leg, to ensure that we actually get distribution, we actually access the market through a channel that is just the way I look at it. So if you look at Bryte that sits in the center, this is basically an extension of Bryte into markets that we can access. But because they're so specialized, we rather partner with individuals who understand that specific risk.
Sure. Yeah. So that now brings me to the task, because I think that falls directly in line with what we're going to speak about. So the task itself, I think we'll throw up the image of what the task was. If my boys at the back can do that. Thanks. Okay, so Bryte set this task, and Bianca, I want you to read it just now. Before we even get into that, the different partnerships is what I wanted to touch on. You said you deal with different partners that actually are niche partners that develop products and things for you. Then it comes to the advice. The brokers or your distribution channels will then actually market those products. The task itself was a bit of both. You've got the marketing side to it, the distribution of that, and then also finding the right partners probably in that. So because I wasn't part of the show, Bianca, maybe tell us what the task entailed.
So the task is in essence, at the heart of it, is trying to close the protection gap. We have a lot of really, really good products, and we've got a number of businesses and natural people, obviously, in the country. But if you look at the amount of people that actually buy insurance, it is really, really low. The last I saw it was 4%, could have increased.
Is that across the board?
So that's just non-life. I think if you take into account life, specifically funeral, you get to a high amount. But it's distorted because you think it's high, but it's actually the bulk of it is made up of funeral. And that's where this task actually came from, to say there is definitely a reason why people support funeral products, and they don't necessarily think it's important to support a non-life product by covering their house. I mean, just from the communities that I'm from and what I've seen in my career, people would rather buy 3 or 4 in funeral policies because the thought of not having a dignified funeral from a societal perspective was just so damning and so hard to even fathom that someone will take out 3 or 4 policies, but the person is no longer. So the challenge was, when you're still alive, if something as devastating were to happen to you, why is it not viewed in the same light? That if your house is blown away, it is important from a societal perspective, from a dignity perspective, to have a roof over your head, to have a car repaired or replaced that actually now takes you to work. And I mean, we can extend it to a number of other products, like, which was not part of the task, but to have a mechanism to pay for your kids to go to university. And we were looking for a translation or transpose of the narrative of importance and emotive connection of a funeral product to a non-life product, such as a home and car insurance.
So this is quite a systemic kind of issue I'm seeing. Like you said, non-life first, the number's so small. And that scares me firstly because I sell non-life products. Car and home is what we're talking about there, business insurance, the things that cover your assets, not your ass. So when we cover your ass, it's yourself. Yes. And that's when it's funeral and life. That's how I kind of put it in my mind.
Yes.
I was a teacher, so please don't judge me. I find these ways to learn, okay? But when it comes to non-life, I find that it's not an emotional purchase. Ever.
Transactional.
It's transactional.
Technical.
Okay, so that's actually the point there.
Yeah.
It's not an emotional, so how do we buy an emotion? Yeah. And that's if I'm understanding what my
100%.
brief is, that's what I got to do.
Because the point is, dignity should not just be when you're dead.
That's true.
Dignity should be when you're alive.
Yeah.
And if something happens to you, you should then be able to recover, and life should go on after the event. And that's what we were trying to see. How do we transfer that from a life product, specifically insurance, specifically funeral, into a non-life of house and car insurance? Yeah.
I guess also perception also plays a very critical role in how people actually view non-life product as well. Because currently, people view non-life product as a grudge purchase, like you said. It's a transactional purchase. You just pay monthly premiums, and you don't necessarily see the benefits of having those non-life products in place.
Yeah. It is, for me, it's a grudge purchase. Or it's actually an irritation for me to hear that it's a grudge purchase over and over again, because I literally try and sell the need. We talk about that in our industry all the time. What is the need? The numbers show that the need is there. One of the contestants, I don't know who it was, said that there's no need for insurance in this area or that. And I said, I agreed with, I think it was Karabo. She mentioned, no, but you do need insurance in every area, and it is a need. So we're touching on certain needs. And generally when we talk about the needs, it gets emotional. So that's how I sell it. And I found that there were 2 groups, Bianca, and one of them did very well. The other group didn't do badly. It's just I think they missed some of the stuff. So what were you expecting from the task? And then we'll jump into how Milady did and how the other teams did.
And I like what you said earlier on about selling insurance. Ultimately, funeral policies, they are marketed, but they're bought, they're not sold. So that's ultimately what I was trying to get. How do we change or reframe a non-life so that it is now bought and no longer sold? And it takes away, or at least dilutes or diminishes that feeling that it's a grudge purchase. What portion of the value chain do we need to tighten up? Is it because, at claim stage, maybe, it's not as tangible as a funeral payout is, which is cash in the bank? Is it that portion? Is it purely from a society perspective, because the society can see the funeral now happening and the service being rendered? That's what I was looking at, to try and then reframe a non-life experience using car and household, that this is equally as important, but it is technical and it is sometimes perceived to be transactional. How do we create the tangibility around it where somebody can buy it and have the same experience that they have in a funeral, just they're alive now?
Yeah, sure. I think the task is actually quite well done to Bryte and to Bianca, because I think the task is so simple, yet not so simple. And what our viewers might not understand is that every single one of these tasks actually sit with a real issue. Insurers have not found the answer to this task, and I think we at home will sit down and see the brief on the screen and think it's, we get an answer and we think it's the right answer. But insurers and partners in the insurance space have tried to answer these questions for years, and currently we are seeing just the question: why are people not buying non-life insurance the way that we buy life insurance or funeral cover? That is the question that's been asked, and our contestants aren't the genies and the magicians or whatever that know all the answers. They are people that are trying to solve these issues, just like you guys have been for years.
And I don't know the answer either. I think this is a PhD study. Honestly, I think it is worthy of somebody spending 5 years researching it, looking at similar studies or similar countries with the same economic struggles that we have, and working together perhaps with the regulator and global bodies to actually finding a solution for it. I think well done to the teams for grappling. I've been wrestling with this for, I think, good on 3 years, and I still don't have the answer. You guys had to unpack it and bring something, and well done.
Thank you.
I don't think any one of us have the answer, but I think it's worth our thoughts and worth our efforts to actually, even if we don't find all of the answers, let's chip away at it.
I love how you said it's a PhD thing, because a few of my friends have done their doctorates and all of these things, through the universities in different areas. And I find that the question that they usually ask themselves before they do their thesis, the question that they pose to the lecturer to say, this is what my thesis is about, this is the problem I'm wanting to solve through my research, they are so simple. Some of those, it's such a simple question that we're asking, and then you've got minds behind it actually trying to figure it out.
100%.
So you've made me think now, Bianca, about TIA tasks in a different way. Milady?
Yes, no, I just wanted to actually touch on that. You made mention of the needs where you sell non-life products from a need perspective. If we look at there are different theories of needs. Like if you look at the Maslow hierarchy of needs, there's safety, there's psychological needs. And maybe if we could try to answer the questions today, is that how do we change that narrative? Is that maybe move from a psychological need to a safety need now, because people really need that safety and protection and that dignity that they normally get from funeral covers, but from a non-life product.
It's so good actually, because when we think security and on that Maslow, that's like the epitome, like we need security, and insurance, I think we're in a world now where that has to fall into that. You do need insurance of some sort, because life is expensive, and we are not all millionaires that can self-insure ourselves. That's the bottom line. Insurance is the payment gap. That's pretty much it. If you can afford to self-insure, to pay for your funeral, to pay for your life, all your debts once you're dead, you shouldn't have debt then. I'm just going to throw that out there. But you self-insure, but if you can't, then insurance is the way to go.
That's true.
So I agree with you on that one, Milady. So Bianca, did you get what you wanted from the groups? Did you see positives come out of it?
I was glad that nobody presented a product, because that was definitely not in the brief. I think the first group understood the challenge, and even in the video that they produced, you could see what they're trying to.
Your AI has come a long way.
It has come a long way. Hey,
well done.
I think the second group kind of got lost in taking the challenge and bringing it towards a black tax and trying to solve from a specific segment perspective. And that is the exact opposite. We want to be able to open up distribution channels and penetrate the market. By putting it within one segment, I think you're doing the exact opposite. And I think that's where they got lost. But I think also their synergy in that task also derailed them a bit and robbed them a little bit of, application. I think they had some personality clashes.
Yeah. I think on that note,
Yeah.
we will play a little clip,
Okay.
Milady, of exactly what went down with you in your group. And it wasn't just you. So we must just put that out there. The group dynamic was, I think there were 4 of you, and it just needed to come down to a safe level. I thought it was quite intense. So let's. I want you to break it down. Let's have a watch and then we'll check it out.
We can go 2 ways, in my opinion. Bring more sentiment would be to include like emakhaya, home, like parents' home, like black tax guys.
When you say black people, are you saying black South African people?
You understand black tax, right? Are you black?
I am.
Are you South African? Good.
We have a very similar thing in the Indian community
as well. Also, then you understand what.
I'm sorry, Google
But you
and
just may
Ty
not call it
is
black tax.
great ideas. And I know that Google is trying to actually land an idea, but you don't have to be condescending, all right? I keep quiet for a moment. My mind is telling me that no, Milady, you need to speak up for yourself.
Yeah, I think, guys, that
You don't
You're
have to be
asking- you're asking
you don't
very,
have to
very,
be
very,
condescending.
like, annoying questions.
no,
I'm not.
Gugu, you can't
I'm-
say that.
I'm
Is it
asking,
South Africa?
I am
But
asking
Gugu,
so
where
that
are
I
we?
could go.
America?
I am asking
Sorry,
for
guys.
clarification.
Can we remember something?
Yeah.
There's a task at hand.
Thank you.
And we need to win it.
Thank you.
And we all need to be in it mentally, emotionally, and otherwise.
Thank you. I just add, since our theme of our campaign is centered around black tech,
Even the historical event that has happened in South Africa, the older generation struggled to actually find work, leaving them in this day and age not able to actually take care of themselves and hence relying on their children fully.
so the judges actually critic our presentation and our campaign. And in my mind, I'm thinking, is it because they actually saw the dysfunction within the team? Or is it really, did we miss the brief?
Damn good job.
I really did feel safe, but also I'm just thinking to myself, maybe the dysfunction of the team could really, really play an impact in the judges making a decision who actually goes home.
I was rude to her, and I did apologize. And moving forward, I kind of just focused on the task at hand. I didn't want to dwell on the problem, so my response was based on us putting it aside and focusing on the task.
Oh, Gugu, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're staying in the competition. Milady, this is the end of the road for you. You're dismissed.
Am I dreaming? I do not think that her words actually gave a true reflection of what happened. Google was condescending and I kept quiet. But the whole dynamic, it did actually affect how I articulated myself and also how I approached the questions from the judges. I felt really, really sad because one, I had the drive to come up with innovative solutions and to be affected by people who want to have things go their way without considering facts. It's really, really sad. And I was eliminated.
And you were eliminated.
Yes.
I was shocked at the elimination, just purely because it felt like the two of you had your moments, but Gugu was quite strong
Yes.
in those conversations. I mean, we saw it. It's not like it wasn't happening. I didn't want to really touch too much on the drama behind the scenes because I think you guys would have chatted and stuff, and I'll ask you those questions. I wanted to actually find out about this black tax thing, Milady.
Yes.
Because black tax came up a few times in the episode, and if you watch the full episode, it felt like you weren't on the same page as the group because you were bringing up this black tax issue, and I understood, I think, where you were coming from, but I felt like there was a disconnect between you and the group. And maybe it stemmed from the disconnect that was caused, the rupture that was caused because of the issue with you and Gugu. So I wanted to ask you, what was your thinking around black tax? And then we can actually break it down with Bianca, because I think she actually touched on it right now.
she did.
You know, why it wasn't probably the right angle. But Joe, what was your thinking around that?
So this black tax theme was agreed among the four of us in the group, right? That we are going to center our focus group for the task around this black tax concept, but not specifically looking at it from a black community. We are also including other communities. You know, like when we say black tax, it's literally a child looking after their parents, and that is our reason behind this focus group.
So it was more like the ethos around what you're trying to achieve.
Yes, but we are not focusing on black communities.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it just kind of builds the direction of where the group is going. So I understood that. I think that's where I think you fell short a little bit.
Yeah.
Was the group actually understood that was the direction, but then that just was the foundation of where they were going, and you stuck on that trajectory of black tax. You can ask me the question, I don't know, so I'm asking you, do you think that's kind of where it was?
Not really. Reason being, we knew that the judges are going to come, and we agreed among the four of us how we're going to actually tell our story to the judges.
Yeah.
And we all agreed that, okay, Tyrell will be speaking about this, Karabo will be speaking about this, Google will be speaking about this, and then Milady, maybe you can actually also highlight and say a point on why we're actually choosing our focus group.
Okay.
And hence I highlighted this black tax, but not necessarily looking at from a community perspective. It's just a concept of young people looking after their parents because their parents are no longer able to take care of themselves. And when Bianca raised or highlighted that, no, that direction is incorrect, the team kind of let me down. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and then so I think the team dynamic is quite a big thing in the group, you know, in this task, because you mentioned a few times it could have been the dynamic that threw you off quite a lot. I want to touch on that because it is a stressful moment already, knowing that you have time pressures and all these other things, and now your group, there's an issue in the group. There were one or two issues in our groups too. You know, there was words and maybe not as publicized, you know, but there were actually so many that I don't think all of them could have been publicized, to be honest. In your instance, this was quite a big thing because it really affected maybe your performance.
Yes.
Do you think that it did?
I think it did. I think it did mainly because at some point the three of them were like, "Hey, Milady, please speak about your emotions and tell us how you feel, because now we can actually see that you are not okay after the remarks that you have received from your counterpart, which is Google." And I didn't want to touch on the emotions as to why I was sad, and I requested to the team members, let us move on, let us focus on the task. I think I said that quite a number of times. Let us focus on the task. I will deal with my emotions later after winning the task. Google and I can actually settle our differences. But I felt as if like Tyrell, Karabo, as well as Google are now focusing on this dynamic, and we were no longer focusing. Yes, we're wasting time. We're no longer focusing on the task, but rather like, "Hey, Milady, please speak about your emotions." And I asked a couple of times, "Please let us move on." You know. So,
do you think if you did speak about it there and then, how it would have maybe changed the dynamic?
In retrospect, I don't think it would have actually done any good because what was playing or what was happening really touched on a scar that I've been through, which was quite similar to what you have seen in that dynamic. And that's why I didn't want to touch on those emotions.
What type of scar, if you mind me asking?
It's an emotional scar. Like it's an experience where you find that you're dealing with a big personality and you're just being shut down. You know, you're just being shut down. And I didn't want to focus on that. At some point, I do recall Karabo pulled me on the side, was like, "Hey, Milady, I need you to be okay." And I said to him, "Please,
you're fine.
I'm okay. Let's focus on the task." But I guess she didn't know why I didn't want to talk about my emotions at that time. And so...
You seemed pretty level.
I tried.
And no, but you tried, and you know what? That is a skill in itself. You know, is maintaining a level attitude through these things. Bianca, I wanted to ask you, just in terms of a professional setting, being an exec and leading a team, you obviously have these things happen in your teams when you're doing a project or even just on a daily. How should that type of issue be resolved? I know it's an individual that we're talking about. In different every situation will be different. You know, but I just find that maybe there are some handles that can be used in these situations.
I think listening to Milady and not having the context on that day, I think it helps us to, one, understand our triggers and to be able to deal with it. From what I'm hearing from you, you were triggered.
Yes, I was.
You were triggered and the trigger caught you by surprise.
Yes.
Because you weren't expecting
Yes.
it. So I think there's work for you to do as an individual to just spend time with the trigger.
Okay.
Because I think what we do, we want to ignore the trigger. And then when it surprises us, it literally then becomes all consuming because it goes back to the scar and reopens that scar. So I would say, one, from that perspective, from an individual, you know, be self-aware, spend time with it, understand it a little bit better, reframe it in your mind so that when it comes to you, you can identify it very quickly and you can deal with it head on. From a personality clash perspective, as you can imagine, you know, group work, either at work or I just finished up my studies as well. Group work is in itself. No,
Okay.
not quite.
Okay,
Getting
close
there.
enough. Yeah.
It is challenging.
Yes.
It is challenging to have to sit down and deal with personalities. And it's not like female to female or female to guy. Sometimes it's just personalities that, you know, don't quite. And I would say it's a hard thing to do, but just take a step back and remind yourself, why are you there? Why are you there? And it's to deal with this task. And you guys had such a short window. You had to keep reminding yourself, why am I there? And is this actually going to matter a week from now, a month from now, a year from now? No, it's not going to matter. But how I deal with it and how I respond to it becomes very, very important. I think that, you know, maybe you should have said, listen, I'm not happy with it, but Gugu, let us go and have a conversation. Let the team continue and let us sort it out and then come back. Perhaps that would have been one of the approaches to take. But, you know, it comes with, I think, maturity and also more experience. There is value, but it takes a lot to just calm, to be the calm in the storm.
Yes.
To lower the temperature. If you can see the temperatures going high, for you to lower the temperature, it is a hell of a thing.
It is a skill.
It's a skill.
It's a skill.
And
one that doesn't feel good.
And in some situations, you want to choose violence.
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
But you have to lower the temperature.
Milady?
At some point during the discussions, I suggested to the team that, you know what, I can see that we are definitely going to the south right now. I suggested to the team that, you know what, let us segregate duties now. Gugu and Karabo, you'll focus on the video, making of the video, and Tyrell and myself, let us focus on the presentation. And then when in due time, we'll converge just to see where we are. So I think I tried, but that did not yield any positive fruition.
I think even in the scoring, the group dynamic does come into play. But I've, for the first time, seen it actually affect the presentation. And that's kind of where I wanted to go with this conversation, because I realized that, you know, you wake up and you have a fight at home with your spouse, and then you get to the office and you have to just be perfect, you know, and that affects our performance in the real world, you know. And now you have a fight with somebody in the task, and you're going into this task, and I could see you were frazzled. That's my word. You know, just a bit, just not yourself,
yes.
You know, and it must have come from, number one, not feeling like you're on the same page with the rest of the group purely because of what's happened. You know, that being said, you were eliminated.
Yes, I was.
And were the lowest score for the day in your group, you know, in the losing group. And these things happen, you know. What I'm loving, and I want to just honor you and commend you, is the fact that you've left that competition. And I've seen you all over LinkedIn and social media doing something that I find only a few contestants and a few TIA alumni will actually do. And that's actually continue the conversation.
Yeah.
TIA Talks was my baby that I thought we could continue the conversation from the show, and we are here now. And I'm seeing a very similar kind of take on your pages. And I want you to just give us a little bit of background as to what you're doing now after the show.
Yes. So when I was eliminated, I said to myself, what's next, Milady? And I was looking at the TIA, the mission or the mission behind it, just elevate, empower, and educate. And I thought to myself, then why not be the catalyst of those three values, elevate. So behind each and every episode, you go out there and you educate people, share information based on what you have seen on the task and based on what you have presented on the task or have researched it more on that task. So I thought to myself, no, you know what, let me be a catalyst for change, sharing information, elevating, empowering people, and also educating people. So,
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it, Milady. You know, the reason why I love it is because it takes a lot for a winner to do these things.
Thank you.
For a winner to go out and show what they know. It takes even more from us that have been eliminated, that are trying to say to the world, actually, you know what, we do know what we're speaking about. We're competing with other professionals, and I'm a professional too. And I'm going to show you firstly what I can do and what I know, and also what I don't know, because we can have a conversation about it. And I think that is so special, Milady, because the winner will be an ambassador. That's in the title, you know, and we want an ambassador through the winner. Kaya, Temwa, Chris, they've all been incredible ambassadors. They knew their stuff technically, but there was something about them that helped in the team dynamic. There was something that they just edged in terms of the emotion. They edged in terms of the level-headedness. You know, all of those things, maybe they had something else, but they will be an ambassador and they've got a task list to do and they're going to have to tick it off, but it's not going to be their idea. And I'm just so chuffed to see a loser like me leaving the competition and taking the bull by its horns and actually just saying, you know what, there are values and this is why we enter the show. There are values: educate, empower, and elevate. And we want to not only do that in the TIA space, but do it in our own spaces, because I feel like we can all be an influence in the place, where we find ourselves. And Milady, you're doing exactly that.
Thank you very much.
So well done.
Thank you.
Keep it up. And don't let it stop after the last episode.
Yep.
Keep educating people around insurance, because on a daily basis and on a weekly basis and a monthly basis, you're going to get some type of topic that's going to come across your desk or your social media that you'll be able to educate people on. So I just want to encourage you, keep doing that, and don't stop it, because your voice, you said you wanted to speak up for yourself in the show, and you thought that you had to, and you did speak up for yourself, and it actually did change the dynamic in the team, and it started to. So what I want you to do is just keep speaking your mind and actually sharing your voice, because there is a voice there, and no one can speak over you, and no one can tell you to shut up when it's on your own page and on your own profile and on your own platform. And it is a platform. I call it a platform because it takes you to the next step. And I really do think that is just a starting point. You will be seen by somebody one day, and I think it'll be amazing.
Thank you very much.
That being said, my voice is a little bit dry now. So I think let's have some coffee.
Okay.
And we'll be right back.
All right.
Thank you.
At MyGlass, we've always believed that the service we offer is more than just glass. It's people. From our technicians on the road to the partners who trust us and the communities we care about. It's the people who make a difference. Every chip we fix adds to a bigger picture, one of growth, opportunity, and impact. Because when people grow, communities thrive. And that's the kind of spirit that defines us. Every job, every journey, every glass we touch is a story about care. Because trust isn't built in an app. It's built by people.
We have a new sponsor in My Glass, and I just want to say thank you. I can continue doing this now, so appreciate it. I'm just kidding. So My Glass, thank you for your sponsorship. Now we don't have to think of all the other glass companies that I use as a broker. It's just My Glass. Okay, My Glass, your glass, everybody's glass. Okay, that was the advert. Right. So Bianca, I think you need to just keep going, keep doing what you're doing. Milady. Can we just edit this whole part out, please, guys? I don't want any of that in there, okay? Because I'm reading Bianca and I'm seeing Milady.
I don't know what to say.
Okay, the bloopers can stay in. Why the hell not? Okay.
Yeah.
There was something that I wanted to touch on, and Bianca, I'll ask you because from an outsider, as an ex-contestant, it was shocking for me to see that the scores of the contestants were being revealed to them throughout the show.
Sure, that was new.
That was new. I was never told that I was the lowest on a day or the highest in a week or whatever the case is. Was that something that you guys discussed before you let them start the task, or was that just the brief for the episode and that's what's going to happen? We're going to start showing people that they are the top competitor or bottom competitor.
I think it was a brief for the episode.
Okay.
I think it was.
So it wasn't a Bryte thing?
No, it wasn't a Bryte thing.
No Bryte ideas?
No
Okay.
Bryte ideas. And it was so... It was impactful, but it was also very tense when we reveal the scores at an individual level. Because I think one takes comfort behind the group, but then to actually understand how's your individual contribution towards that, it is... Yeah, so I felt for the contestants. I did feel for Milady. But now that I see what you've done and how you have just like elevated yourself from that, sometimes, you have to have a failure to be able to actually say, okay, this is actually what I want to do. And I'm glad that you took that approach.
Thank you.
Milady,
Yes.
how did you feel about after all this stuff that's happened and the scores getting presented? Obviously, you were on the lower end for this episode, but from the previous episode, they were also bringing up the lowest two scores, but this time they brought up the top guys. Did it surprise you that those top guys were the top guys?
No, it didn't surprise me at all that the top 5 were the top 5. Obviously, you are competing with strong contestants here. So I was not surprised at all. But was I surprised or was I stressing about my score? I wasn't stressing that much because I needed to be consistent throughout. But like Bianca has said, that sometimes it's easy for one to be comfortable behind the group that, okay, I'm in the winning team, but you don't know that you are actually one of the lowest. And in this case, or in this episode, on episode 4, I was number 6. And I was like, okay, I don't necessarily need to stress myself to be number 1 today. I just need to be consistent. You just need to
beat the last person.
I just need to be consistent with my performance. So, yeah.
Sure. I felt like it was quite hectic because we found out who the top scorers were.
Yeah.
I never had that. And I think if I had that, I would have lost my mind because it puts it into perspective. Firstly, the guys that are the top pretty much probably knew it because of the way that they conducted themselves throughout the show so far. But the ones in the middle and the bottom, that's where it gets a little bit tricky to understand. I always was like, I'm sure I could beat him and him, but hey, I don't know about her. And then you start to play those games in your head. Now it's out there.
Yes.
Now it's like, cool, guys, And what I found fascinating was that they asked them to be the captains of the team and then actually asked them to pick a team. So it was very much like high school basketball kind of let's choose a team.
Yes.
And then you don't get picked.
Yeah, and then you don't get picked. So who were the last 2 that were picked? Do you remember?
The last 2 that were picked, I think it was Google and was it Google and
I also don't remember.
I don't remember. So
yeah, but the last person that was picked was Google. Okay. And if I may, she was not happy that on the scoring board she was number 7 and I was number 6.
She did mention it.
Yes, she did.
Yes,
and she did mention it that how is Milady number 6 and she's number 7.
Do you think there was anything personal between the 2 of you?
From my side, I can confirm that from my side, I don't have any bad
blood between the 2 of you.
Yes, but but maybe from when she does win the show and she comes to this
then
podcast, you can ask her. But from my side, and I've told her quite a number of times that, hey, I don't have anything negative to say about you, as much as you have a lot to say about me, but I don't have anything to say. about you. So on my side, I'm cool with her.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's good.
Thank you.
I'm hoping, Gugu, if you're watching this, we'll get your side of the story. And also maybe I do a little reunion show. That could be quite fun. TIA talks too much. That'll be the last episode. But Milady, I think you did a really good job in terms of just being there, and just carrying yourself really well.
Be very proud of yourself.
Thank you. And now it was quite sad because I have actually worked on a similar project.
Yeah.
Like this episode, but to a different country where they were trying to actually change people's perception about funeral cover in this case. So they want people to buy more.
Funeral
yes,
cover.
instead of
Interesting.
investing to their kids' wedding. So
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
and we really touched on the psychology part, on the cost to it. So it was quite sad that it didn't actually
Come out.
It didn't come out in this episode, but nonetheless, I'm happy that I'm here.
Well, all your posts afterwards have shown us that you know what you're talking about.
Thank
You
you.
know? There's some days that we're just under the pressure. Things happen. You forget your words presenting. Simon's hair doesn't look nice and you get distracted. Something happens, and then life happens, And I think the way that we deal with those failures, like you said, Bianca, and all of those little blips in life, I think that is the sign of true character.
Sure.
And I'm seeing that from every contestant that's been eliminated thus far.
Yeah.
They've shown me, and I think the world that's watched them, just who they are and that they can and always do better. This is not the be all and end all. So well done, Milady.
Thank you.
Last thing for you, I want to know, what are you taking from the experience? And if you could give anybody advice watching the show, any advice, whatever you're wanting to tell them, you're all welcome to use this.
So what I'm taking from this whole experience is definitely the networking the networking opportunity that I have, and now I get to call the other 9 contestants my friends. I get to boast.
Or the other 8 maybe.
Yes, I get to boast about, hey, I'm friends with these people, and we can actually grow together. Because I do know, I think, Bianca, you have you have your people in your circle that you have actually started from the bottom and up until where you are right now, and having such opportunity means a lot to me.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's not just the people that you've met on the show.
Yes.
I think the people know people too. And you never know what will come out of it. I've seen that you're growing on your LinkedIn and all those things. But I just feel like the network's just going to keep growing for you.
Thank you.
I think,
yes. And to any person who's thinking of entering TIA, please don't overthink it. Just send the application through. You will thank yourself later. There's just so many things that one can actually learn from this whole experience. Whether you are eliminated from the first rounds of pre-elimination, there's just so much more that you can learn about yourself, like your self-development. You can go back and say, hey, is that how I present? Is that how I am when I'm under pressure? So there's quite a lot to actually take. Other than the prizes, obviously, there's just a lot of things that you can learn from this whole experience. So please send those applications through for TIA 2027.
Yeah, and you'll probably be on TV.
Yes, why not?
Bianca, the last word is yours. Following Milady's elimination and just the team dynamic and the task that you were trying to kind of bring to the fore, and the problem that you were trying to bring to the fore, and the solution that you're trying to kind of find through the contestants, is there anything you want to share with the audience or the contestants that are still there, and leave us with a little bit of wisdom from Bianca?
No, thanks. So 2 things. So at the onset, just to latch on to what you said about personal mastery, I think that the TIA is so amazing in that it brings in really, really talented individuals into one room to solve issues that very experienced people in insurance are grappling with and wrestling. And that one just opens up, little windows in your mind. You get to meet new people and you get to challenge yourself. I mean, now you have opened up all of these platforms. We're seeing you doing wonderful things. This is as a result of entering into TIA. And then I see you've connected with the previous participant as well on one of the, I don't know if it was like a podcast type of thing, which I think is amazing. I think we need more of that in insurance. We need to open up the dialogues and share experiences. We all have different skill sets. And that's what I love what TIA has done. It brought in, a platform for people to actually now engage. So from a personal mastery perspective, I think really well done. It's a great opportunity to see how you show up, see how you can contribute a little bit differently, how you can handle things differently. And maybe just see, okay, from this, I take this out and I'm going to continue with that. From a task perspective, I think we still have to do a lot more. People in South Africa, companies in South Africa, we need to do a whole host of awareness. We need to simplify. We need to engage people and show them that we agree it's technical. Yes, we agree that some claims need to be rejected because there are valid reasons for them to be rejected. But that's not the reason to not purchase insurance. Insurance forms a much bigger purpose from protecting you and be able for your life to move on after the event, and not for it to become everything and all consuming and basically envelope your whole life because you've had one event that could have been resolved with insurance. I think we all have homework to do to be able to, and maybe we're not going to solve the whole challenge, but let's try and just chip away and solve one. And as we then go, the generations thereafter, we'll do a little bit better and more, and then we'll be able to access a bigger market.
Yeah, I love it. This episode really showed us that insurance is ultimately about people and not just policies. Protecting someone's car and home is often protecting their dignity and their income and their future.
Yes.
But it also reminded us that pressure reveals leadership, it reveals communication issues and also skills, and it also reveals character.
Yes.
And sometimes growth comes most from uncomfortable moments.
That's true.
And Milady, we saw that with you, and Bianca, you were the catalyst actually to bring out all of this in this episode with your task. So thank you, Bryte, and thank you, Milady. Your job's not done, and we know that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.